Thank you. Hi, I'm Isaac, and I'm going to show you a couple quick ways that we can deal with foreign key relations. Within MySQL, within MySQL, there's a way to create foreign key relations if you're using the nodb table type, and that's one way that we work towards getting a normalized database. As you can see here in our example employees database, we've got a list of departments and also employees, both of which are simply the name and the corresponding ID number. And then we've got a series of other tables which actually relate the data. It takes the employee ID and the department ID, and then in this particular case it has, the from and to date for when the employee was associated with that department. And this is one of the ways that we normalize the data, so that if you have an employee who changes departments, you don't have to enter them twice into the employee database. You just create another entry here. So one of the things that we have that enables you to work with relations is the relation view. And if you go under the structure tab, you can see the relation view link right here. And the neat thing that phpMyAdmin allows you to do is to create a relation even if you're not using the nodb table, through the configuration storage feature, which is something that we set up to store additional features for bookmarking or user level preferences, or in this case, relations. You can go through and you can define relations even if the MySQL table doesn't support it by default. But anyway, here in relations, you can see that we've already got two defined, and setting one is as easy as selecting it from the drop-down and just selecting go. And in this case, we're going to turn on, oh no, we're not going to do that there. I apologize. We're going to go to departments, and I'm going to turn on the show column. One more button click away. The column to display is another feature that Mark's going to get into a little bit, and I will show you also as well, that allows us to make inserting and displaying data much easier, because when you go to the related data back in the department and employee database, or I'm sorry, the table that relates those together, if we go to insert a row, you'll see that there's a drop-down provided where you can pick from, if you know the text representation or the value, you can simply select customer service, or if you know that it's ID number D005, you can select that from the list. So we give it to you both ways, as the foreign key and the related key, and that makes it much easier for you to insert data on the fly. Now there's another way of working with relations that we've got, and that's called the designer feature, which is a graphical way. And in this case, it's stuck under the More tab. If you've got your resolution set higher, if you're not doing a presentation, for instance, this More tab actually expands out, and that's dynamically based on the size of your display. So in this case, it's under the More tab, but it's down on the end for Designer. And when we open that up, that's going to give us a graphical representation of all of our relations in this database. And what you can do is move those tables around to a way that suits the way your data is displayed. For instance, I'm not interested in this log, so I'm going to minimize that and drag that out of the way. And now I've got a suitable representation of all of the relations between my database. And within this designer, if I want to save this later, all I have to do is hit save, and it saves the layout on that page. And so the next time I go into Designer, it'll save that specific layout. So anyway, when you want to create or remove a relation, it's quite easy. All you've got to do is, in this case, we'll remove this simply by clicking on the relation, and it pops up the little prompt if I want to delete a relation. And then to add a relation is as easy as selecting the Add button and then clicking between the two keys you want to relate. And in this case, it's asking me what I want to do if the foreign key is manipulated, and it didn't like that for some reason. So that's how you create the relation within the designer. Anyway, so you get the picture of that. Then the final thing that I'm going to show you about is the import and export coordinates. What we can do is take the coordinates directly from this designer view and move them to a page for export as a PDF or SVG or DIA graphic file. And we're going to create a new tutorial page here. And then from the create a page and export to it, I thought that was selected. There we go. And then when we go back to the operations tab for that database, we're going to be able to export the entire database schema and the relation view as a PDF file. So here we're going to select the page that we just created, the tutorial. And once we select that, it's going to automatically fill in with all the coordinates in this text field. Now, I don't like typing the text field, and I have trouble visualizing those. So all I'm going to do is toggle the scratch board, and it's going to bring up a graphical representation, again, very similar to the designer, and you can drag those around to match your page layout and how you wish to export the page. And as you drag those around, it's going to automatically update the X and Y coordinates in these text boxes. So let's say we're happy with that, and we're going to come down here and select the export type. As I said, you can export as several different vector graphics formats, but I find PDF the easiest for my purposes. And then if you're in a country that requires you to use letter or legal paper, you could select that there. We're just going to go PDF A4. And this is going to export for us, and I'll show you in just a moment that it gives you a very nice view of all of your tables and all of the, excuse me one second, it's going to give you an overview of each type of data that's represented in each table, and then it's also going to show you all the relations. So I'm going to switch back to this and zoom in a little bit so you can see. There is the table of contents, which shows you each table in the export here, and if you click on one, it scrolls you directly there. So when I click, when I zoom this in for you, you can see that the column shows, each column has the type, if there's a default, any extras, the comments, every bit of information you need to recreate this or to document your procedures. This makes it very easy to create a database and then see, for documentation purposes, what exists in the database. And then down at the very bottom, we've got the list of relations between each field, and so this creates a very nice display that you can document for future generations and see what your database looked like.